Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. Sorry for my boss, but I got a bit of a call. Before I start, I just wanted to thank to the Mamaself organization, to Christiane, and to all the professors. It's been great to be part of this family. And then when they asked me to come and give a talk today, I was like, okay, let's just help me and reflect what I did before Mamaself, what helped me to come here to the Mamaself, and what Mamaself helped me to continue in my career. So before Mamaself, so actually I come, this is a pointer, no, the pointer, is this one? Big square, this one, right? No. Which one is? That one, okay. So I come from Venezuela. Oh. Yeah. Oh, that one is good. Okay, so I come from Venezuela, and I'm very happy as well to see a student, Danielle, that comes from the same country, and actually we went to the same university. And then this is a picture of the campus of my university back home. And then I was thinking about all the things that I learned at that time. So I'm a material engineer, specialized in ceramics. So that always brought a lot of good jokes, because ceramics, what do you do, toilets, things like that. So yeah, they joke a lot about it. But it was great. It was a different kind of things that you learn there. As a material engineer, you learn a lot about the industry, like industry process. And I remember at the beginning, I have a great professor, and she said, you can do more than just like working in the industry and doing toilets or things like that. Like, I mean, there is science, like there's material science. So that's something that encouraged me to continue. And then things that I learned when I was there, it was like to be responsible. Like you have deadlines, you have to study, you have to do a lot of things, be efficient, because you don't have that much time to do all the things that you need. You have to continue, you have to persevere to the things that you want. But also, like you said, like discover a new world about materials, because I don't know if it happens to you that sometimes you said, oh, what do you study? And you said, oh, material science. And they're like, ah, nice. So for sure they don't have any idea about it. I made great friends. We're still in touch. And something that I like it as well to point out is like you learn to have a tolerance to frustration, to know that a lot of things are not going to happen the way that you expected, but you need to continue. So I finished my studies there, and then I knew that I needed to continue. I didn't want it to stay in the industry, and I said, okay, I want to do a master's. And then I was like, okay, to do a master's abroad, I need to improve my English. At that time, my English wasn't that good at all, so I went to Salt Lake City. So now we changed the landscape, tropical place to a very cold place. And I have the opportunity there to start learning English, but also it helped me as well to start working in material science. I was working part-time at the University of Utah, and that gave me another perspective about what I was doing and what I wanted to do. I worked almost 2 years there on research in the fuel cells. So at that point, you start like, okay, now you're the one who prepares samples. Now you're the one who are going to test it. Like, you're the one who has to learn how to use SEM. And then you see the machine, it's like, oh, that's expensive. What happens if I break that thing? But also it helps like to learn different cultures, like a different language, and to know and realize that, okay, common sense is not common sense everywhere. Everyone has a way of seeing things different. And then you get involved to see different cultures. I had a lot of Indian classmates and colleagues, and that was great. But after 2 years, I knew that I needed to move on. And that's what he said. You need to keep persevering. You need to keep looking for opportunities. And it was a friend who said, oh, you know about the Erasmus Mundus program? And I was like, oh, no. So she gave me all the information, and then I applied, and then I got accepted to the Mamaself school. So now it's Mamaself experience. And then you got here, and then so I went moved to Salt Lake City, and my first year was here in Ren. And then you get here, and then you find like 10 or 11 different nationalities in here, and you're like, wow, this is interesting and excited. Like we speak like, I don't know how many different language. We're gonna see lectures in English, and we live in a European country when they speak French. So yeah, that's gonna be great. But you learn a lot of things with that. You learn, I was saying, like, to be very tolerant, to be open-minded, and to learn about other cultures and the way that people are. So now you come from material science, and then you come to large-scale facilities, and you're like, I don't have any idea, what is that? So you start learning about this, about solid-state physics and solid states, and you're involved in this international world. And then also I did an internship here in Ren. It helped me a lot to understand the way people work here and how you can develop, and then to continue working. As you see, I'm an engineer, and then I saw a lot of practical lessons applied to industry, and when I have my class of quantum physics, I was like, I don't have any clue what is happening here. And then it was frustrating, but I had great classmates that helped me. Like, okay, no, we're gonna study together. And when I did my first exam, that was with Professor Di Matteo, I was like, oh, I did very bad at that thing. And so I went to talk to him, and then he says, well, I can help you. I can give you some books. So you need to keep going. You need to keep working on the things that you want. It wasn't easy, but I managed. But you continue, because what do you want? I realized at that time as well that this master gives you a lot of opportunities. You start building a network, and then so you continue. And then after the first year, the second year, I went to Turin, beautiful city. And then at that point, you start having another perspective about other science, about what you're doing, learn about not only about ceramics, metals, polymers, chemistry, and then you're still learning about being humble and being tolerant to everything that you're going, learning different language. That's something that I really like it. At that point, I think you start to understand that this is becoming like a small family, like all the friends, all the professors, like you're not a stranger anymore. And that's something that helps a lot. And then, how you said, you start building your network. So I did my the second semester there in Torino, and then for the master thesis, I went to Montpellier. I was like, yeah, Montpellier will be nice. You get to meet France, so okay, let's go back to France. So I came here, I did the internship, and then I started to get involved in the ferroelectric materials world. This is something that I like it, it's ceramics. So yeah, I did almost everything on ceramics, about different materials as well. You start learning about different characterization techniques, as diffraction, Raman, things that, okay, you always see things on the slide, actually now it's you who is actually doing it. Start learning more French, because as we know, we always see everything is in English. So yeah, you sometimes finish your master's, and then it's like, oh, I live in this place, and the other is like, so you know the language, and you're like, no, I just did everything in English. So it's starting to be great. And then this internship opened to other opportunities. So when I finished the master, my supervisor, he comes and said, okay, we have a position for a PhD. Would you like to continue? And I was like, he said, you have 1 minute to think. And I was like, it was a Friday. And I was like, can I have the weekend? And then, so he said, okay. So on Monday I came and said, okay, yeah, I would like to continue working on these ferroelectric materials. And then it's like how I started, like what happens after Mamaself. So I start working on the PhD. So this is the title of my PhD thesis. It's like synthesis, high pressure study, and the electrical characterization of two lead-free perovskite materials. I have just a brief idea what I was getting into, but it was excited. It was excited to continue learning things. Like you start like making the material yourself. So that was a lot of work. Then they say, okay, we know to work in high pressure. And then you're like, okay, I don't know how it works that, but okay, let's do it. So it helps a lot to learn things. And then I think some of you, these were my supervisors, Philippe Papé. So I think of you have some lectures with him, and some of you might meet him when you are in Montpellier. So we continue, and then what did I learn in there during these 3 years? I spent almost 4 years in Montpellier. So I managed to get a PhD. Was a nice adventure. Was hard sometimes, but you get motivated. So it's worth the effort. You get involved into the research work because it's not you who have to do this. You have the one who have to be independent. You're the one who have to read papers. You need to understand what you're doing, and you have to come with ideas. And it's your job, actually, what you're doing here. You have the opportunity to go to summer schools, to workshops, to meet people from different backgrounds. And at that point, it was when I realized that when I was doing the summer school and the Ulich and Daisy as well, I was like, hey, Mamaself was great. Now I understand what is happening in here. And I felt happy, actually. And then I work a lot on synthesis, sintering, and then characterization techniques. And then if you ask me now, like, I encourage you to try to learn and be an expert in one of these techniques. That will help you to have more opportunities. So I finished the PhD actually last year. And then I don't have to say that was easy, because there's a point that you say, okay, I have to finish the PhD. I need to find a job, and I don't know where I'm going to go or where I'm going to work. And then I had the opportunity to start working at Saint Gobain. And at that point, I remembered a lot of things. And then I always said, oh, I was very lucky. I was very lucky to get this job. And then a guy said, I mean, luck is something that you build up. I mean, it's not something that happens. And then right now, when I look back and I say, yeah, I did work hard to be able to get here. It's been almost 10 years of education, actually. So I was like, yeah, it wasn't that much of a luck. It was work and effort. And then something that later I started to realize as well when I started working here is like, knowledge is something that you can learn. That's what we hear. Like after you get as well a PhD, you can change a different domains. We have seen today, like you go from physics and you study electronic engineering or biospace things, which is amazing. But something that I learned a lot is like, it matters a lot who you are, like your personality, like what are you doing? And that's something that sometimes we don't pay attention. So I started working in Saint Gobain. I actually started working before I finished my PhD, so it was a lot of pressure at the moment. So Saint Gobain is a French company. It's almost 350 years old. And it works in these 3 different poles, innovative materials, construction products, and building distribution materials. So there is a lot of research and innovation in this company. There are 8 research centers in different parts of the world. And then something that we always like to point out is like one of the 4 products that they're selling today did not exist 5 years ago. And now where I am, I'm working in the Saint Gobain CRE, which is European Research and Study Center. And it's not that far from Montpellier, so it's nice. We still have blue skies and nice weather, so I do like that. And then I'm going to show you a video that actually was released yesterday about what is the company. Hold on. The sound, yeah. Is this one. Okay, let's see if it works, yeah. Let's see. No. Escape.
Maybe switch to sound off.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It should work.
It should work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's 4, 5.
Saint Gobain conceives, produces, and distributes materials and solutions for the future and well-being of everyone. The group is organized into 3 poles, has over 170,000 employees, and is present in 5 continents. With 8 research and development centers that interact daily with over 100 research teams throughout the world, Saint Gobain is one of the 100 most innovative enterprises in the world and is constantly innovating. The CRE, or Centre de Recherche des Études Européennes, located in Cavaillon in the south of France, develops solutions responding to current societal issues. Anchored in Saint Gobain's sustainable strategy, CRE works toward better use of our natural resources by developing better refractories and insulating foams that economize energy. Our center also participates in the development of powders destined for electric motors. With the goal of building a sustainable future, Saint Gobain and CRE developed ceramic filters for water and air purification. We also conceive new catalyst supports that maximize the efficiency of industrial processes, thereby reducing waste. Developing products and solutions for the future is in our DNA. CRE's researchers work with ceramics and composites to improve the performance of automobile motors and jet engines. To ensure the protection of those we hold dear, we develop ceramic armor systems. With everyone's well-being in mind, CRE participates in the creation of acoustic insulation and innovative materials for cosmetics and luxury businesses. Because we are capable of pushing the limits of these materials, CRE participates in space exploration. Mastering our raw materials is essential for producing our finished products. CRE's know-how and expertise in the transformation and forming of materials allows us to create grains, beads, and powders that we need. Constantly evolving, we work towards future technologies like additive manufacturing and synthesis of ultra-pure powders. We analyze our materials chemically, physically, and structurally at smaller and smaller scales. Our skills allow us to develop numerous products present in a multitude of markets and applications. 200 employees work together, developing the materials of the future. They act every day as entrepreneurs and push themselves and their talents to respond to our clients' needs. Our global academic network, our equipment, and our knowledge permit us to innovate and find new opportunities. CRI, an international R&D center for excellence in inorganic and ceramic materials.
Okay, so this is the research center where I work. Actually, they did a nice video. So it shows all the things that, how does it work this now? And that we work. So it's a very nice place to work, actually. And the organization of all the things that we saw is divided in 3 groups. So we here have all the financial, human resources part, and it's divided in 2 parts. The business unit, which are the ones for the R&D, that they work closely with different business and develop new materials. And then I work in one of these teams in the competence research lab. So actually, we're the one who does all the analysis and tests for these groups. So in the research lab, we have different groups inside there. We have the chemical, the microstructure, and physical, measurements, modelization techniques. So it's quite broad a spectrum. And actually, I work in the microstructure group. So this is the team they're a part of. We're actually 8 people. We have all these are the technicians that work with us, my boss, and actually he's not part of our team, but we work with him because I use one of his machines, so that's the reason why he's there. And we work very close with the business units, so we are the ones who try to develop new experiments for them, to have any needs for them for the new materials. So far it's been almost 8 months that I've been there, and it's been so far a great opportunity. And that shows as well all the possibilities that you have as a material engineer, and then here Mamaself. So I'm just very glad all the things that I did and all the people that I met when I was in Mamaself. We're still in contact with all the friends that now, like, it's great because I learned something recently when I was there, like, you cannot be expert in everything. And that's the reason why you have colleagues. So when I have some problems with something, I just contact professors or like classmates that actually as well, they finished the PhD and they help us. So it's great that you're part of these masters, and I'll say something is up to you to continue looking for the opportunities and just keep working hard. So thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. We may have also time for one short, precise question.
Thank you for the nice talk. I have a question regarding the Europe or the United States or Venezuela. Do you think it's the master is known in the United States or in Venezuela? Could you go back to another continent and work there with this education?
Back home, no, actually. Like we don't do development actually. That's one of the things that pushed me to try to go abroad. With this education, yes, you can go to other countries, not only Europe, US, actually. In the US as well, we have the company, so allowed us. It's not about something about the knowledge and the education that you have. There's well some opportunities, but yeah, you can go pretty much wherever you are. I have friends that now are working in China. They're from Mamaself. Some went back to their countries and they're working on that. So yeah. Okay.
Is that okay? Any other question? Small one?
No.
So if no, we switch to the last testimony of our former students from Andrea. Thank you again, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
And